Let us continue with our lesson. And the next step is to work with our delete tags. So we have already implemented a route that will delete our particular tags. And if you go to the tags controller, that is from the HTTP controller API and the tags. And inside this particular package, folder, we have a tags controller. And here, if you see, we have a destroy function, and that takes the request, and we need to pass the particular ID. That's going to search for the ID, and it will go and delete it. And if you take a note that we are, after successful, we are returning this success message, and that may not be a practical, so maybe we have to return a tax. So let me, I think, delete this one, and let me return the tax for now. So let me return the tax. And that's better because we have to create, if you go back to our application over here, when we want to delete that particular tax, we have to pass the tax entity. So tax entity, we need to, it's easier for us to create from the tax that is returned from the server. So we just have to amend or change some of the field in order to create our tax entity over here. So let's get started in our project over here. First of all, let's go to the endpoint, and in the endpoint, let us add a constant val of delete underscore tags, and that should be of the API slash of the tags, right? So API slash tags forward slash. Then I will go and copy that particular route, which is of our delete tags. Just copy this one, and let me go back and paste it over here. So we have the endpoint already, and let me go to the network service over here, and we need to create a network service. So let's create a network service of this, should be of the post, right? And in the post, we need to send the endpoints dot delete the particular tags, and create a suspend function over here to delete tags, right? So this will delete a tag, and that we have to pass the header. So let me copy this one. We need to pass the header, and the second we need to pass the body, and that body of I think we don't have any request. So if you go to the remote request and go to to do, currently we have only two requests, what is add and another one is edit. So let me create one more request over here, and let's say tax. Okay, we call it as a delete tax, and it give you just delete tax request. Let me add that one, and this should be of the data class, right? So data class, and when we have a data class, I need to add a variable to the constructor, which can be of a val id, and this should be of the integer that we are going to pass, or I can pass the string, that should be better. And also add the serialized name, and the name that we can give over here is the ID. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, I need to rename this one particularly. Spelling mistake is there, so I will just rename this one to DLE, and that should be of a DLET delete. Okay, refactor that one, and go back to this particular service, network service, and in the body I will pass the delete tax request. So that's it, we have to pass. And finally I will return, let me go to the response, and in the response I need a tax response. So SPON response, in the response let's get it tax response. That should be fine. So we'll return the tax response. If you go over here, we are returning the particular tax, right? So that should be okay. And since since we have endpoint and we have the DAO already that takes the delete tags, and we have the service already to delete the tags, and we also have created a delete tags request, and we also, okay, the response is we are using the tags response. Next is to create a repository. So we don't have a repository, we just have edit or add repository. What we will do is we'll create a new repository over here, new repository class, and let's call this one as delete tags or delete tags repository. And okay, so what we need to pass is we need to pass in the constructor, we need to pass the two parameter. So that should be we can get from here. So the network service and the database service. So let me pass that to variable over here because we need that one. And let me create a function that should be a suspend function to delete tags from API. So first of all, we delete the tags from API. And over here, what I need to pass is the token. Okay, and token that should be of the string, and another one is of the request. Sorry, yeah, the delete tags request. And over here, I need to network service dot delete tags, and I will pass the token as well as delete tags. Okay. And the next is to create a suspend function to delete a particular tags from the DB. So we will be deleting from the DB, and for that we need to pass a tags entity over here. And tags entity, which is of, we have to pass the app database dot the tags down dot delete, and here we will pass the tags entity. Okay, so we have a functionality to delete, and also, okay, so delete from API and also to delete from the local database. And we have added the endpoint, and now we have a network service already and the repository for our delete. So the next step is to work with this repository, maybe on from where we want to delete. So let's do that in our next lecture. Till then, have a great day.